Good morning. For me and my slightly messy kitchen, I've got a lot of jobs to be cracking on with this week, and they're all jobs I've been putting off for the longest time. And honestly, if there's one thing that's going to incentivize me to do these jobs, it's taking you guys with me to do it too. So join me this week as we do these little bits. I will also show you that it's not as picture perfect as I like to present it as. It's still very much a work in progress, and there's lots of little corners that I very purposefully don't show, such as along the back of our countertops. She's just not looking good. The first job on our list, I oiled these worktops yesterday, by the way. I think in the last vlog I left you with the fact that our oil was dried up and I couldn't finish this job, but we finished it. And I'm gonna paint these the same colour as that, also give that a little refresh and paint it, and then glue her onto there. I think that just completes it really nicely and makes it look lovely and polished, so I'm excited to get this done. I think the paint's in the shed, so let's go have a look. I tell a lie, it was in the cupboard. I truly don't mean to brag, but I feel like if there's one thing I can do in life, it's improvise and problem solve. I was like, well, how am I going to paint these and not get it on the countertops and yada yada yada. And I literally just looked outside my back door, saw these two bricks, and I was like, boom, that's exactly what I'll do. I feel like that'll work quite well. There's one thing I can't do though, is keep a blooming cupboard tidy, because it took me way too long to find this. I'm just gonna paint these and then do like painting the beadboard later. I've also got another wall in here I need to paint because, guys, the cat's out of the bag by now. This feels a very fitting time for me to announce this for those who haven't seen on Instagram or any other app. Just me on the ground painting something feels very what I'm about to say. So if you haven't, we are going to be on Scotland's Home of the Year, which is kind of crazy. And yeah, they filmed last July, so I've been keeping this a secret for a very long time. But essentially, they filmed on a Monday, right? And our joiner, God love him, absolute legend, came hungover on a Sunday and fitted us a new extractor fan, because we used to have this big black ugly extractor fan, and I was like, oh my god, our kitchen will just look so much better if we don't have this horrible extractor fan. So he pulled through, came and done it for us, and so I popped a quick coat of paint on the night he left. It looked great, but also, might I add, that night, or while he was here actually, I had to literally take myself to the other room and just completely didn't even say anything and just disappeared for about 20 minutes. I had a vision migraine, which was honestly the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. Like, I thought I was going blind. I now realise it was the stress. But anyway, powered through the vision migraine and popped a coat of paint onto the wall behind the extractor fan that night. And the next morning, I think they came at 10, and I was obviously awake at like the crack of dawn because I was just so nervous and stressed about it. And I was like making pancakes for their arrival, because obviously, what else would I make? And I looked at the wall above the cooker and then looked at the time and was like, that paint only takes about 2 hours to be touch dry, and these judges don't arrive until 10. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna put another quick layer of paint on this. If there's one thing I regret in my life, it was that decision. Because what did I do? I grabbed freaking floor paint, and 2 hours into the drying process, the camera crew had arrived, and I was like, I painted this wall this morning and it just seems to not be drying. And then I touched it and it was bone dry, and I was like, okay, you know, something else is happening here. And I realised I'd used the wrong paint. And that was how it was going to look for the judge being there. So I was like, please, please tell them it was a mistake. Oh, I wish this was a joke. I wish this was made up, because I feel like it's so stupid. You would think it is, but sadly, that's not the case. This is the paint I should have used. And I actually don't know what paint I did put on there in the end, because the minute I was allowed back in the house, before even like, I don't know, letting it all sink in, I grabbed a paintbrush and painted that wall the colour it was meant to be. But I just opened that for the first time, and that's the paint that I bought for this. So I don't know what's on there, but you can still see the floor paint peeking through. So I'll put another coat on there. Time to end that chapter of that floor paint on that wall, because every time I see it peek through, I'm like, oh, you idiot, Caroline. So that's, I think, all that I'll need in terms of this trim. I'm going to leave a little section here to paint a different colour, because there's a little bit of trim I need to do on the bench seat as well. So that'll be perfect for that. I'm going to walk Nuala while this dries and then come finish it once I'm back. Okie dokie, I am back and showered, outfit changed, and in more painting appropriate clothes now, I'd say. So I'm actually going to paint the backsplash before I put the trim on, because the trim's like still a little bit wet on the edges, so I think why not do that now. I'll just give it a little wipe down now and then get to it. I'm going to listen to Mary Skinner's podcast while I do this. She's got Sarah Wood Gonzalez on as a guest, who I met for the first time a few weeks ago. We've been like kind of mutuals on multiple social medias for a while, but I'd never met her, and she's just an absolute legend of a human. She's a joy, and I also absolutely love Mary Skinner's podcast. Never met Mary, but I think I'm actually going to be at an event she's at soon, so hopefully get to meet her then. She seems like an absolute gem too, but her podcast Prologues is amazing. I feel like it's just a real good girl chat. Girls talking about girly things. I freaking love it. And that's what's going to keep me entertained while I do this. Okay, the beadboard is done. Now onto this wall. It is kind of hard to see, but let me see if putting the light on will help. These streaks, that is the floor paint peeking through. Yeah, you can kind of get a good view of it there. How funny, guys. So time to say goodbye to this silly chapter of my life. But also very much not, because when it's on TV, it's all I'm going to be thinking about. Like, I swear, if you see that wall at any stage in this episode, I'm gonna actually just die. Okay, that is that wall painted and looking fresh, and I'm just thinking while I'm at it, this wall, she's not looking good, so may as well give it a little touch up, eh? So I've got a bit carried away, but in a good way, and I pretty much ended up painting the whole room. I didn't do this wall because there's just too much going on here, but I don't actually think out of all of the walls it needed done the least. So I done that little part there, I done above there, I've done this whole wall, and now I'm going to dig out the green paint, because there's a few little chips we need to sort. Like, this didn't have a handle for ages. Lee attached the handle recently, but from when we were just kind of grabbing at the door to open it, there's a few chips, so got to sort that out. And then I'll cut some of the trim to just neaten up around here. If you don't know, my dad built me this bench seat. What a legend, like the absolute pride of my home. But when he done it, he was like, now remember, you need to add a little bit of trim around here just to neaten it all up and tidy it off. And he done that about 4 years ago, and I haven't done that yet. So that will be a job for today. Okay, we're really cracking on with these jobs now. I just done a whole second layer of paint on the bench seat because I only ever done one and I could always see little gappy parts in it. So she's going to be looking fresh. The power of starting is actually unreal. It just snowballs all the like other things you end up doing. So now I'm moving on to this. Look how much better this looks when that goes on there. I guess you maybe can't see how horrible that part looks. I'll do a closer up. And to be honest, I don't think everyone that has these kind of counters need to do this, but this was DIY of ours, which I'm still proud of. But I do always say, I'm not great at DIY. I'm just very good at covering up the bits that I don't do very well. And this is a good example of that. I am so happy with that. I think it looks so polished and lovely. I am just going to very carefully run the brush over that part because I'm a silly Billy and forgot to do that. And maybe just take one last run of the brush over the top of it, maybe at this join here, because obviously when I've been cutting it, it maybe got a bit kind of bashed, but she's looking gorge. You know, when you have like an insecurity about your home, people are like, oh, don't worry, no one goes around your home looking at these things, or like after like a week you'll never notice it, don't worry, it doesn't need to be perfect. The minute I walked into this kitchen, my eye would be drawn straight to that join and be like, I gotta fix that. So I'm very happy. Let's do a personality test. If you had this much paint left at the bottom of your can, would you throw that away or would you keep that? I'm having a hot cross bun break because I've ended up working through lunch, so I'm now starving. Everything is drying nicely and I'm just desperate to get the cushion back on the bench seat and this room to be back together again because it's feeling fresh and clean and tidy and I feel happy about it. The posties just come and it's a random delivery. I'm going to keep it in the box actually when I show you it because it feels weird to be brandishing a knife around. But essentially Lee and I were away at the weekend on an island called Ling. We had a gorgeous stay in a place called Wildling and we had such a good time. Lee and I were talking about it and we were saying like Skye is such a destination island for doing things and seeing things and being busy and having a jam-packed one time. Ling was a proper retreat, like we chilled out. I pretty much finished Blue Sisters in the time I was there. But when we were there I said a sentence I've never said in my life and that was, this is an incredible bread knife. So we bought it instantly. The Millennia 10-inch wide bread wavy edge. So if you're on the market for a new bread knife, I think it was about a tenner, which I was quite happy to see. It was cheap as well. And that's just arrived. Hello, it's the next day and we're on to the next job. And today's job is this fireplace. In case you're wondering, I don't think I ever properly wrapped up in the vlog what was happening in here because we didn't finish it. We don't have a hearth currently. These are the tiles we're using. They're just sitting there. This is not attached to the walls. This isn't even attached to this because A, I ran out of money. Needed to save up a bit before getting the builder in to fit all of this. And B, I needed to tidy this fireplace up and didn't have time to do it like while the builder was here. So just put a little pause on it and it's starting to get me down that we just have a non-functioning fireplace that's not attached to the wall in the living room. So today I'm going to sand it and see how I go and maybe oil it. I do think I'm going to have to put filler in some little bits, but I'm going to take it outside and give it a sand and see how I feel. Okay, we're getting there. And under here isn't the best, but I've just had to glue this little bit back on because it was kind of hanging off. So I might just leave it for a bit while that dries and then come back to it. But honestly, from afar, she's looking nice. So it dawned on me, a lot of these jobs are quite boring. It's a lot of topping up paint with the same paint colour as it was before. And as much as that is perhaps inspiring, for you two to also get these jobs done. I feel like we need a little bit of a treat, something a little bit more gorgeous. So I'm going a walk up Ben Tianavaig today, which is just an absolutely gorgeous walk on the island. Small hill. Have referred to it as a wee walk to friends before and nearly lost said friends because perhaps to some it's a bigger walk than others. But for those that live in Skye and the friends that I nearly lost through calling it a wee walk, I reckon they'd even call it a wee walk now that they are seasoned to the Scottish way of life. So yeah, we're going a wee walk up Ben Tianavaig, so I thought I'd just take you along for a little bit of it and to see the gorgeous views because it's a gorgeous day. Let me show you. Shall we? Let's go then. So I'm just parked up waiting to pick up the friend that I'm going with, but this is the hill that we're going up here. You can actually see the trig point, it's so clear today. Or is that a person up there? I don't know, but that's where the trig point is. So that is the destination. Hello, it is Sunday. I've very much fallen off the wagon with my getting all the little jobs I've been meaning to do done, but I'm pretty sure I've done 3. So I think that's still a win. And I think I've still had a productive week. And if I'm honest, the next job was painting the hallway. And it would be painting white paint onto white paint. So honestly, I've done us all out of a big old boring montage of me painting a white wall white. So I have just been out for a little lunch with a friend. I've walked Nuala, I've done the Airbnb changeover. I'm just feeling this gorgeous chilled out Sunday vibe and not the guilt that sometimes comes along with not doing anything with your day. It feels really good. And I had some friends over for dinner last night and I'm really proud of the food that I made and we just had such a nice time and I'm just feeling like I've had such a good weekend. And I prepped a fun little activity for me and the friends I had for dinner and that was in the form of magnets. So I just got some air dried clay, made some shapes, stuck some magnets on and then put some paints out and then we just sat and painted. And my favourite one, this little Nuala. And I'm not gonna lie, I think that actually looks quite like her. Oh, oopsie. There's a wee bit of a weird situation going on with the eye, but that was meant to be Sparkle because she has sparkly eyes, does my girl. Guys, I think I've done not too bad. And I've made focaccia on the vlog before, but it's been like a process of learning it and trying to master it. And I think I may have finally mastered it. I'm really chuffed with how this one came out. By the way, I don't know the difference between done and did. And no matter how many people explain the rule to me, I never understand the difference. So apologies if you're triggered every time I say it wrong. Probably only gone and done, did it again, who knows. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I done a lemon and basil risotto for the dinner alongside some crunchy chickpeas on top and then also some halloumi to go on top and some roasted broccolini on the side and some tzatziki to go along and that bread as well. So it was a good feast. And then I also bought a little dessert from Bog Myrtle, a cafe on the island, because I just know I want to pour everything into the main and I never have time for dessert. So I bought the dessert in, but it was a success. But I was thinking I definitely should have vlogged yesterday because I think it would be really helpful to do a potential series of dinner party meal prep and like meal plans and everything I serve, the timings of how I do it. I actually started the focaccia doing it the night before. I done an overnight rise one. And I thought that'd be quite interesting and quite useful for people to like see exactly the timings of everything that I prep and then when I put it in the oven and times of people arriving. So let me know if that's a series that's of interest to you because I'd be quite keen to do that. And I'd maybe start by just recreating the dinner party that I done last night. Lee's gonna be in for a treat maybe and get a nice big feast. But I thought that could be quite good, so let me know if you'd be keen for that. It's now just me back at the house on a Sunday chilling And something that's not like DIY, but it's something I've been meaning to crack on with for a while, is my knitting. This vest is going well. This is like the front bottom section, but I'm ready to move on to the next part. I think I need to take this off the needle now. So that's kind of paused me a little bit because I'm scared about having to try something I've never done before. So today's the day. I've got nothing else on, so I'm very much going to just dive into this knitting. And there's a new season of You on Netflix, so I'm going to pop that on and got myself a cup of tea, and I'm just living the Sunday dream. And I hope you all are too. It'll be Sunday when this goes out, so hope you're all having the best Sunday.